Hello book lovers, welcome to Uncommon Reader. My name is Daniela and today I bring you a very exciting book tag. I have to thank Hannah of Hannah's Books for tagging me along after I made a comment to her video on this awesome book tag created by BookBuds. And it's the library tag. It's part of a Tag Tuesday, but of course I never make it in time to publish a video on a Tuesday, but I hope it still counts. I love this tag because I am in love with libraries and their services. In fact, check this out. These are my current library rentals. 12 of them. There must be another one somewhere around the house. So I'm so excited about this. This book tag has actually two sets of prompts for those who go to the library and for those who don't. Of course, I belong to the first group, so I'm going to answer 10 questions. How often do you go to the library? I have my little computer right here so I can read. So how often do I go to the library? I think I go pretty often, once or twice a week. I have to return books. I have to pick up holds. So I'm there pretty often. Second prompt, do you belong to more than one library system? Not in Italy, because my library system is pretty wide. They have about 30 libraries, so any book it's not available at my local library, I can look online and find it and place a hold and pick it up at my local branch. So it's pretty easy. When I lived in US though, I think I belong to maybe two groups. In California, I was part of the Milpitas Library, which is not related to the San Jose one. And the San Jose has a lot of branches. And then I think at one point I had a San Francisco library card as well. But of course now I don't visit that often, so I don't use rentals from the library. I could use the online features as well, but we'll talk about that later on with a different question. The third prompt, what percentage of books you read come from the library? A quite embarrassing percentage. I would say 95%, because I am online on my library system website constantly because I'm checking out what's new. Our library system works really well. So I can find books that have been just released, so I'm always on the lookout for interesting new reads, and therefore I place holds, and I also check my own status of rentals. I don't want to be late, and so this way also I have a way to create my TBR knowing what is due to return. I also try to read one book from my own library, from the books I purchase, but it's not always possible because of the too many rentals I have, and the need to read the book before it expires. Of course, I could always renew it when the book is not new, or re-rent it later on. I just feel this sense of accomplishment if I rent a book and I end up reading it. So it's the Reader's Guild. I don't know how to call it. The fourth prompt is, do you listen to audiobooks or get ebooks from the library, or are you hooked on Audible or Amazon or something else? So I'm not a big audiobooks and ebook person. I definitely don't use Amazon services at all. I kind of boycott it, especially after reading Nomadland, but that's another story I may tell you one day. I used to go for walks and listen to audiobooks using some apps available here in Italy, but somehow I can't really focus because I get distracted a lot with audiobooks. Ebooks, no, I need to really have a book in my hand, and what I get a kick out of this is the current book I'm reading. I love watching the bookmark advancing. I don't know, it's a silly thing, but yeah, I really enjoy the touch. Even if it's a really heavy book, I don't mind. And I think it's so romantic to hold a book, don't you think? Yeah, so unfortunately, no ebooks for me. I know some will disagree because it's not a sustainable thing to do, but most of my books are used or rentals, so I don't feel too bad about that. Fifth prompt, did you go to story time at the library as a kid? I don't think they had such a service when I was a child, but I used to live right by the library. So we lived in a really small, short cul-de-sac. The library was just at the end, and I was living on the right side. And I was actually the friend of the librarian's daughter. So we used to play together, and I was always going up the stairs to the library. And by the way, my library is beautiful. It has big windows, big light, and it faces the shore, the beach, because I'm on the seaside by the Adriatic Sea. I think I've shared some images on the Jack London Call of the Wild reading blog. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a note in the description box. A sixth prompt, have you ever borrowed a movie or a video game from your library? Movies, yes, but not anymore. I don't have a DVD player, so those days are gone, and definitely not a video game. Seventh question, have you ever gotten fined for returning books late? If so, how do you feel about it? Yeah, I don't feel bad giving money to my library, and I think it just happened a couple of times, and it was just like 3-4 days late, but I'm usually very, very punctual in returning my books, so it hasn't happened lately as well. Eighth prompt, do you attend special events, groups, or book sales at the library? Yes, of course. I'm actually part of our local library book club, and we meet every month to discuss a book. In fact, this week is our time to discuss The House of the Mosque, which I told you about in my latest video, the recent vlog on my mountain trip. And I love library sales. I have such a kick out of it, and I get great books. I have to show you some of the finds for like €1. I don't know how it happens. I find English books, English versions. So I have 2 classic by Charles Dickens, The Pickwick Papers and Little Dorrit. And then I found the first part of Simone de Beauvoir autobiography, George Orwell, Animal Farm. And then I found also another couple of classics, Dracula by Bram Stoker, and Thomas Hardy, Tess of the Uberville. So, and these are all in English. Who knows when I'm going to read them. And then I have another one, Murakami novels. He's a famous Japanese mystery novel. I actually haven't read any of his books yet. So I have many more, but I just picked a few to show you. And all these libraries that are in the system, along with my local library, they happen to have book sales on and off, so I can also check online when they have a book sale somewhere. If I can make it, I'll go, and it's always so much fun. I really get a kick out of it. So ninth question already. Have you ever given or taken a book from a little free library or a book box or a book swap? Actually, I haven't mentioned the book crossing at my library. There is a shelf at the entrance where we can bring books and pick up books. So I'm going to show you 3 books that I got from my book crossing at the library. This is The Miniaturist. by Jessie Burton. I love this book. And then here's Eskol Nevo, is an Israeli writer, and actually I looked up at the English title of this book. It's called The World Cup Wishes, which is so totally different from the original title. I mean, in Italian, it's the symmetry of desires, and you can tell because the name, the Italian wording is pretty similar. I haven't read these, and it's the same thing that happens to me. Again, I have way too many rentals from the library to have time for my own books. It's so embarrassing sometimes. Another one that I got from the book crossing is Elif Shafak, The Bastard of Istanbul. I'm very curious to read this one. Haven't read it yet. I think we have a bonus question for the 10th prompt. Does your librarian know you by name? Yes, she does, but not only because I'm part of the book club. So we meet. It's a small group. We're about 6 or 7 of us, all women. But before I joined the book club, as soon as I enter the library, she would see me and she would step up and go to the holds shelf and pick up whatever I was coming in for. So yes, she's pretty familiar with me. And I imagine like, oh my God, she's again here. Also, one thing that I love to do when I go to my library is always check out the new releases shelf. In spite of my many rentals, the new release shelf is so dangerous because you hear about these new books coming out and of course you're curious, but then there are the books that you're waiting to read for a long time, and it's all free for you. You only need to have that little card and show it. It's just like a kid in a candy store, really. I don't know how people are not excited about library services. I also end up buying books after I read them through the library. For example, I bought Sirs of Madeline Miller and The Lost Apothecary of Sarah Penner. Awesome books. One of my favorite of 2022, and several Italian authors as well. I don't really like to have a lot of books in my own library. I like to keep books that I really enjoy or I connect. And when I buy new books, they belong usually to authors that I really enjoy, that I love. So I like to buy for cheap authors that I'm not sure I like, because then I can donate the books myself again and without keeping them at home. I feel like books should be like friends' photos. And whenever you look at them, you remember the time when you read it, you have a special bond with them or the characters in the book. So for me, it's like an elite. When a book joins my bookshelf, you're sure that it's a book I care for. Keeping aside those that I haven't read yet. So those will be read and then maybe they'll stay and maybe they'll go. So this is it. The 11th question is to tag. So I'm going to tag a few friends. And my tags are, if you're interested in doing this tag, unless you have done it already, Catherine of Raspberry Reads, Renee of Beyond Books, the My Rumpus, Fred, A New Connection of Read by Fred, and Aaron from Aaron Facer. So you guys and anybody else that wants to do this awesome tag, I'm sure if you love the library, you will do it, I'm sure. All right, sorry, I'm always touching my hair, but I've just washed them today and they look way too big. I like very thin hair, and I never get to do it unless I go to my hairdresser who styled them so nicely. But anyway, and this has nothing to do with books, right? I hope you enjoyed this tag as much as I did, and this video. So it's already time to say goodbye, but before I do, I want to thank all the new subscribers and the old ones for your attention. I really appreciate it. I know I wish I could do more videos during the week, but for now, one video a week it is. Maybe in the summertime I will have more time. I hope to see you back here next week. In the meantime, I wish you happy reading.